Intermittent fasting is a dietary regimen that alternates between periods of fasting and meals consistently. Research indicates that intermittent fasting is a viable approach to weight management and the prevention or reversal of certain types of disease. However, how do you accomplish this? And is it secure? What exactly is intermittent fasting? While numerous regimens emphasize the consumption of specific foods, intermittent fasting is entirely concerned with the timing of meals. Intermittent fasting involves consuming food exclusively at a designated time. Research indicates that there may be health advantages to abstaining for a specific number of hours each day, or consuming only one meal on a few days each week. Intermittent fasting has been the subject of research by neuroscientist Mark Mattson at Johns Hopkins for the past 25 years. He claims that our bodies have developed the ability to survive for extended periods, either for hours or for several days. In prehistoric times, before the development of agriculture, humans were hunters and gatherers who developed the ability to endure and prosper for extended periods without food. They were compelled to do so, as the process of hunting game and gathering nuts and fruit required a significant amount of time and energy. It was simpler to maintain a healthy weight in the United States even 50 years ago, according to experts. The absence of computers and the turn-off of television programs at 11 p.m. resulted in a cessation of food consumption as individuals retired for the night. The portions were significantly lesser. A greater number of individuals engaged in outdoor activities and, in general, received more physical activity. Many adults and children remain conscious for extended periods to watch television, browse social media, play games, and engage in online conversations, as they have access to the internet, television, and other forms of entertainment that are available around the clock. That may entail remaining seated and indulging in snacks throughout the day and the majority of the evening. A higher risk of obesity, type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and other ailments can result from consuming additional calories and engaging in less physical activity. Recent scientific research indicates that intermittent fasting may be able to reverse these tendencies. What is the mechanism of intermittent fasting? Although there are numerous methods of intermittent fasting, they all involve the selection of consistent eating and fasting times. For example, you could attempt to restrict your food intake to an 8-hour window each day and observe a fast for the remaining hours. Alternatively, you may opt to consume only one meal per day on 2 consecutive days. Numerous intermittent fasting regimens exist. According to Mattson, the body begins to burn fat after its sugar reserves are depleted after hours of fasting. He refers to this as metabolic switching. Mattson asserts that intermittent fasting is in stark contrast to the typical eating pattern of the majority of Americans, who consume food at all hours of the day. If an individual consumes 3 meals and snacks daily without engaging in physical activity, they are consuming calories and not burning their fat stores with each meal. Intermittent fasting functions by extending the duration of time during which your body expends the calories consumed during your most recent meal and commences the process of fat burning. Plans for intermittent fasting. Before commencing intermittent fasting, it is crucial to consult with your physician. The actual practice is straightforward once you have obtained his or her approval. You have the option of selecting a daily approach that limits your daily food intake to a single 6 to 8 hour period. For example, you may opt to experiment with 16 to 8 fasting, which involves fasting for 16 hours and consuming for 8. However, a research study that was not specifically designed to examine an intermittent fasting pattern found that restricting the time window of eating each day does not prevent weight gain over time or produce significant weight loss results, even though some individuals find it easy to adhere to this pattern over the long term. The findings of that investigation indicated that the consumption of fewer substantial meals or the consumption of a greater number of smaller meals may be linked to the prevention of weight gain or even weight loss over time. The 5-2 approach, an additional intermittent fasting plan, entails consuming food consistently on 5 days of the week. For the remaining 2 days, you restrict yourself to a single meal that contains 500 to 600 calories. For instance, you could consume as you normally would on all days of the week, except Mondays and Thursdays, which would be designated as one-meal days. Fasting for longer periods, such as 24, 36, 48, and 72 hours, may not necessarily be beneficial for one's health, and may even be hazardous. In response to deprivation, your body may begin to accumulate additional fat if you go for an extended period without consuming food. According to Matsson's research, the body may require 2 to 4 weeks to adjust to intermittent fasting. While adapting to the new routine, you may experience feelings of hunger or irritability. However, he notes that research subjects who successfully navigate the adjustment period are more likely to adhere to the plan because they perceive that they are experiencing an improvement in their well-being. What foods are permissible during intermittent fasting? When one is not consuming food, they are permitted to consume water and zero-calorie beverages, including black coffee and tea. Eating normally does not entail excessive behavior during your mealtimes. According to research, it is unlikely that you will achieve weight loss or improved health by consuming high-calorie junk food, supersized fried items, and indulgences during feeding times. However, intermittent fasting is favored by certain experts due to its capacity to consume a diverse array of foods and derive pleasure from them. The act of sharing nutritious, high-quality food with others and enjoying the mealtime experience contributes to overall well-being and satisfaction. Regardless of whether one is practicing intermittent fasting or not, the Mediterranean diet is considered a reliable guide to dietary choices by the majority of nutrition experts. When selecting leafy greens, complex, unrefined carbohydrates, lean protein, and healthy lipids, it is difficult to make a mistake. Advantages of intermittent fasting. Research indicates that intermittent fasting periods accomplish more than simply burning fat. Mattson elucidates, the body and brain are impacted when changes occur with this metabolic switch. The New England Journal of Medicine published one of Mattson's investigations, which disclosed information regarding a variety of health advantages associated with the practice. These consist of a longer lifespan, a more slender body, and a more acute intellect. Intermittent fasting induces numerous physiological responses that can safeguard organs from chronic illnesses, including heart disease, type 2 diabetes, age-related neurodegenerative disorders, inflammatory bowel disease, and numerous cancers, he asserts. Here are some of the benefits of intermittent fasting that have been discovered thus far. Memory and cognition. Research has shown that intermittent fasting enhances verbal memory in adult humans and working memory in animals. Heart wellness, blood pressure and resting pulse rates, as well as other heart-related metrics, were enhanced by intermittent fasting. Athleticism. Fat loss was observed in young men who fasted for 16 hours, while muscle mass was preserved. Mice that were fed on alternate days demonstrated superior endurance during physical activity. Obesity and type 2 diabetes. Obesity was prevented in animal studies through intermittent fasting. Additionally, intermittent fasting resulted in weight loss in obese adult humans in 6 brief studies. Those who have type 2 diabetes may experience the following advantages. The majority of the research available indicates that intermittent fasting can assist individuals in losing body weight and reducing their levels of fasting glucose, fasting insulin, and leptin. Additionally, it can reduce insulin resistance, decrease leptin levels, and increase adiponectin levels. In certain studies, it was discovered that certain patients who were under the supervision of their physicians and practiced intermittent fasting were able to reverse their need for insulin therapy. Health of the tissue. Intermittent fasting in animals resulted in enhanced surgical outcomes and reduced tissue damage. Is intermittent fasting a healthy practice? Intermittent fasting is employed by some individuals to manage their weight, while others employ it to manage chronic conditions such as arthritis, elevated cholesterol, or irritable bowel syndrome. However, intermittent fasting is not suitable for all individuals. It is advisable to consult with your primary care practitioner before attempting intermittent fasting or any other diet. Intermittent fasting should be avoided by certain individuals: adolescents and children under the age of 18, women who are either pregnant or lactating, individuals with type 1 diabetes who require insulin. Even though an increasing number of clinical trials have demonstrated the safety of intermittent fasting in individuals with type 2 diabetes, there are currently no studies conducted on individuals with type 1 diabetes. Mattson elaborates, there is a concern that an intermittent fasting eating pattern may lead to unsafe levels of hypoglycemia during the fasting period, because individuals with type I diabetes require insulin. Individuals who have a history of dietary disorders. However, individuals who are not classified as such and are capable of adhering to intermittent fasting safely may continue the regimen indefinitely. It has the potential to be an advantageous lifestyle modification. It is important to remember that intermittent fasting may have varying effects on individuals. Consult your physician if you begin to experience unusual anxiety, migraines, nausea, or other symptoms following the initiation of intermittent fasting. Enjoyed the breakdown? Hit that like button, subscribe for more game-changing content, and drop a comment below.